all eyes are now on 2024, and that's where I want to focus tonight. The only prospect for turning the American ship of state away from the woke, quasi-socialist, morally confused, and incredibly dangerous domestic and foreign policies of the Biden-Harris administration and steering it in a direction that evangelicals are praying for is to retake the White House in 2 years. Good evening and welcome to Jerusalem and a special election edition of the Rosenberg Report. After last week's stunning and historic comeback by Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu, the first time, mind you, that any Israeli prime minister has ever returned to office after being voted out of power twice before, all eyes have shifted this week to the American midterms. Republicans had expected a massive red wave, even a red tsunami. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich predicted a GOP pickup of 44 seats in the House and 3 to 5 seats in the Senate, but it didn't happen. The GOP definitely picked up seats in the House, and it's likely that Kevin McCarthy will emerge as Speaker, but many races are still too close to call at this hour. The Senate, meanwhile, is a jump ball. It all comes down to 3 states, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona, but we won't know the final results for weeks. Now, the question of how exactly Republicans so badly blew their chances to seize decisive control of both chambers of Congress is a topic for another night. But 2 things are crystal clear. First, with no decisive change in the balance of political power in Washington, I'm not expecting any major changes in U.S. policy towards Israel, Iran, or the broader Arab Muslim world. President Biden does not feel rebuked by the American people for any of his failed policies at home or abroad. He wasn't punished for his disastrous approach to COVID or the economy, his support for woke policies, abortion on demand, and transgender confusion. Nor does he feel rebuked for surrendering to the Taliban last year in Afghanistan, or pushing an incredibly dangerous nuclear deal that would flow $1 trillion into Iranian coffers by 2030 and put Israel in grave danger of a second Holocaust. In fact, Biden was asked directly if he plans to change his approach to governing as a result of the midterm elections, and he said, wait for it, no.
What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing.
The second thing that's clear is that all eyes are now on 2024, and that's where I want to focus tonight. The only prospect for turning the American ship of state away from the woke, quasi-socialist, morally confused, and incredibly dangerous domestic and foreign policies of the Biden-Harris administration and steering it in a direction that evangelicals are praying for is to retake the White House in 2 years. I mean, we need a revival too, but just focusing on politics for a moment. Most Americans, indeed most Democrats, don't want to see Biden run again. But does he care? Not exactly. Indeed, he moved quickly to take credit for Democrats' surprising successes this week.
While the press and the pundits are predicting a giant red wave, it didn't happen. And I know you were somewhat miffed by my obsessive optimism, but I felt good during the whole process. I thought we were going to do fine. While any seat lost is painful, some good Democrats didn't win the last night. Democrats had a strong night. And we lost fewer seats in the House of Representatives than any Democratic president's first midterm election in the last 40 years.
What's more, Biden, who turns 80 this month and is one of the most unpopular presidents in American history, insists he wants to run for re-election.
Our intention is to run again. That's been our intention, regardless of what the outcome of this election was.
Biden says he and Jill will make a final decision sometime after Christmas, but former President Donald Trump isn't waiting.
I'm going to be making a very big announcement on Tuesday, November 15th at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
MAGA Republicans are jazzed by the prospect of a Trump-Biden rematch, but others are blaming Trump for endorsing flawed candidates who couldn't get over the finish line. It's a charge that Trump preemptively rejected.
You've endorsed more than 330 candidates this election cycle. Tonight, win or lose, the results for Republicans, how much of that will be because of Donald Trump?
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit, and if they lose, I should not be blamed at all, okay? But it'll probably be just the opposite.
Then came Trump's preemptive shot at his potential 2024 rivals.
We're winning big, big, big in the Republican Party for the nomination like nobody's ever seen before. Let's see, there it is. Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%, Mike Pence at 7%. Oh, Mike's doing better than I thought. Liz Cheney, there's no way she's at 4%. There's no way.
Many conservatives thought that Trump took a cheap shot at one of the GOP's brightest and fastest rising stars. Indeed, in the midst of an incredibly disappointing night for Republicans, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was the big winner.
We have embraced freedom. We have maintained law and order. We have protected the rights of parents. We have respected our taxpayers, and we reject woke ideology. We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
DeSantis crushed his Democratic opponent by 19 points to win re-election, injecting fuel into growing speculation by many conservatives and evangelicals that DeSantis is the future of the party and is best suited to win both the GOP nomination and the presidency. That said, don't count out former Vice President Mike Pence. Trump is furious with him, but Pence doesn't care. He releases a new book next Tuesday, published a lengthy and fascinating excerpt in the Wall Street Journal this week, and by all indications, he's gearing up to take on Trump, DeSantis, and anyone else for the leadership of the party and the nation. Now, in terms of policy towards Israel, Iran, and making peace with Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Arab world, I don't currently see much difference between the Republican contenders. Any of them would be far better than the current occupant of the White House. But it's a long road to 2024, and we need to be praying without ceasing every step of the way.